To really get what Bitcoin is all about, we can't just jump into the tech stuff, the code and the computers. We actually have to go way back. We have to start with the story of money itself. Because here's the thing. Bitcoin wasn't just a random invention. It was an answer to a very, very old problem.
So let's start right there. What even is money? It sounds like such a basic question, doesn't it? But trust me, the answer is the key to this whole story. We're about to take a little journey into what money is, where the cracks in our current system started to show, and how that led to the birth of a totally radical new idea.
All right, first up, let's do a quick trip back in time. The way we've exchanged value has gone through some pretty massive upgrades over the centuries, and each new version was trying to fix the problems of the last one.
So in the beginning, it was all about bartering. Super simple, right? I trade you my wheat for your shoes. But what if you don't need my wheat? It's pretty inefficient. So humanity came up with a better idea: precious metals, gold and silver. Everybody agreed they were valuable, they lasted forever, and they were rare. Problem solved? Well, not quite. Carrying around a bunch of gold coins isn't exactly practical, which led to paper money that was backed by gold. And that eventually led to where we are right now: fiat currency. This is the paper money we all use, and it's not backed by anything physical, just our trust and faith in the government that printed it.
And that word, trust, man, that is so important, because as convenient as our current system is, it has this one fundamental flaw, a flaw that would eventually set the stage for a massive global crisis of trust. And that flaw, that core problem, has a name: inflation. See, with fiat money, there's no limit. A government can just decide to print more of it. And basic economics tells you when you make more of something, each one becomes less valuable. So that means the money you have saved up, the money in your wallet, is constantly, slowly but surely losing its power.
This is where that abstract idea becomes very, very real. Just think about it. Back in, say, 1970, $100 could get you a grocery cart that was literally overflowing. Today, that exact same $100 bill might get you just a couple of bags. The number on the paper is the same, but its actual power has just been drained away. That's inflation, right there in your shopping cart. And that slow leak of trust? It absolutely exploded in 2008. The global financial crisis hit, and suddenly the banks we were all told were too big to fail were about to go under. All around the world, people woke up and realized the system they've been trusting their entire lives was way more fragile than anyone ever imagined.
It was right in the middle of all this chaos, this complete meltdown of trust in banks, in governments, that some anonymous person, or maybe a group of people, known only by the name Satoshi Nakamoto, quietly dropped a paper on the internet. And it proposed a whole new way of doing things.
Now, this wasn't just some boring academic paper. No, this was a blueprint. It was a plan for a completely new type of money, one that was built for the internet age and designed specifically to fix the problems that caused the 2008 crisis in the first place. The idea was honestly radical. Just try to picture it. A form of money that's completely digital, that you could send to anyone on Earth without needing a bank or Visa or any middleman. Money that a government couldn't just print more of because its supply was fixed by math and secured by computer code. That was the core idea behind Bitcoin.
And if there was any doubt at all about why Bitcoin was being created, Satoshi left a little message embedded in the very first batch of transactions, what's called the Genesis block. It wasn't just random code. It was a newspaper headline from that exact day, a direct commentary on the failing system.
Think about that for a second. It wasn't just a timestamp. It was a mission statement. It was a declaration of independence, in a way. It was saying, right from day one, this was created to be an alternative to a system that needs constant bailouts from the very people it's failing.
Okay, but people had tried to create digital money before. They'd all come and gone because nobody could get past this one giant, seemingly impossible technical problem.
So here's the problem. Think about any digital file, a photo, an MP3, anything. You can copy it perfectly, 1,000,000 times over. And that's fantastic for sharing stuff, but for money? It's a complete disaster. If I can just copy and paste a digital dollar, then it's instantly worthless. For years, this was called the double spending problem, and no one could figure it out without having a bank in the middle to keep a central record.
This is where Satoshi's real genius kicked in. The solution was the blockchain. The easiest way to think about it is like a public ledger or a notebook that's shared and copied across thousands of computers all over the world. Every single transaction is a block that gets chained to the one before it, creating this unbreakable, unchangeable public record. Because everyone has a copy, you can't cheat, you can't fake a transaction, you can't spend the same money twice. It solved the double spending problem and created something totally new: digital money that was actually scarce and didn't require trust in any single company or person.
And from that spark, the idea just started to grow. It began in 2010 with the now famous first ever purchase, 2 pizzas for a mind-boggling 10,000 Bitcoin. By 2017, it had its first massive price surge that caught the world's attention. After a few more crazy cycles, it hit new highs in 2021. And today, well, it's an asset that Wall Street, major companies, and even entire countries are taking seriously.
So when you cut through all the noise, all the price charts, and all the headlines, the single most important thing to remember is this: Bitcoin wasn't born out of hype. It was a precise, carefully designed answer to a real-world crisis, the slow decay of trust in the financial system we all depend on. Which really just leaves us with one final big question. Our entire global economy is built on a system of trust. Trust in our institutions, trust in our governments. But the story of Bitcoin forces us to ask, what do you do when that trust gets broken? What's the alternative? And honestly, that's a question worth thinking about.